In this video, I'm going to be talking all about the biweekly mortgage payment schedule. Now, this has been around a long time. It's nothing new. And the reason why people love the biweekly mortgage payment, including myself, is it does a couple things. One is it saves you thousands of dollars in interest that you'll be paying to the bank. And number two is it knocks years, not months, years off of your mortgage. So I'm a huge fan of the biweekly mortgage payment. And I'm not talking about making double payments every single month. That would be a little crazy. What I'm talking about here is you're making a half payment to your mortgage every other week throughout the year. So why does this work so well? Well, a biweekly mortgage payment is very, very similar or pretty much exactly the same as somebody out there that maybe gets paid on a biweekly schedule. So let's say that you're an employee and you're set up on a biweekly schedule, meaning you get paid every other week no matter what. Well, then you know that throughout the year there's 26 pay periods, which means that you're going to get a third check twice a year. So for example, in 2020, if you started your pay period on January 3rd, that means in January and in July, you will receive a third paycheck. I like to call that the magical third paycheck. So really you think about it, well, if you are getting paid twice a month, you should only receive 24 checks. Well, really, you're receiving 26 checks because it's bi-weekly. There's that extra week twice a year. A bi-weekly mortgage payment works exactly the same. So what you're doing now is instead of making 12 full monthly payments, you're making 26 half payments or the equivalent of 13 full payments. So you're getting an extra full payment going to your principal and interest every single year. And that's what drastically reduces the amount of time it takes to pay off your mortgage and saves you thousands of dollars in interest. Now, there's a couple ways you can set this up. The first way I recommend is to call your bank, call your lender, call them up and say, hey, I would like to be set up on bi-weekly mortgage payments. You probably were not offered to get set up on bi-weekly mortgage payments. And why is that? Well, let's think about this. Banks are in the business of making money. If you have a 30-year mortgage and you pay it off faster than 30 years, the banks make less money. So why are they going to call you up and say, hey, Peter, would you like to sign up for bi-weekly mortgage payments so we can make less money? Of course not. That's not what they're in the business of. So call your lender and ask if you can get set up with bi-weekly mortgage payments. Many lenders do this. However, something to keep in mind, some lenders will say sure, but they offer or they impose a fee to set this up. Do not pay a fee. You do not need to pay a fee to do this. If it's not free to set up bi-weekly mortgage payments, then don't do it. There's a workaround, which we're going to talk about. So again, rule number one, when you're setting up bi-weekly mortgage payments, call your bank, call your lender, ask them if they'll do it, if it's free. If it's not free, we're going to go a different route. If it's not free, then we need to look at how can we set this up ourselves. It's really not complicated at all. So what we'll do here is we'll do the do-it-yourself method. And a lot of people go down this route because they have to, so they don't have to pay a fee or because their bank doesn't offer it. So let's think about this. If we're adding technically a 13th payment, that's what bi-weekly mortgage payment schedules do, is they add a 13th payment, then we can really do this ourselves. We can take our mortgage payment, we can divide it by 12, okay? And we'll take 1/12 of that mortgage payment and we'll send it over to a sinking fund. If you don't know what a sinking fund is, we have another video talking all about how to save more money with sinking funds. Sinking funds are basically savings account earmarked for certain expenses or certain savings goals. So in this situation, we're gonna have a sinking fund, we're gonna call it mortgage payoff. So what we'll do is every single month, we'll take 1/12 of our mortgage payment and we'll send it to our sinking fund. And at the end of the year, we will have a 13th payment that we can throw towards the principal. So let me give you an example of this. Let's use a real world example here. Let's just say that your principal and interest is $1,200 per month. Well, if we divide that by 12, that's really simple. It's $100. So every single month, I'm going to send $100 over to my sinking fund. At the end of the year, I'm going to have $1,200 in there. So when I make my payment at the end of the year, I'll make another payment right after that. So a double payment that month, which is basically the exact same thing as paying your mortgage bi-weekly. Again, this is going to save you thousands of dollars and it's going to save you years, not months, years of interest. So I put together two real world examples that we're going to go through right now, okay? The first is with Mike and Rhonda. So Mike and Rhonda, they just purchased a brand new $300,000 home on a 30-year mortgage at 4%. Their monthly payment, just principal and interest, we're not talking about taxes and insurance, just principal and interest is $1,432, okay? So if they divide that in half and they make a payment every other week, or they do bi-weekly payments because their bank allows them to do that, their month or their bi-weekly payment is going to be $716 per month. Remember, a monthly payment was $1,432, so in half, that's $716 every other week. So what does this look like? Here are the results. Mike and Rhonda will knock 5 years off of their mortgage and they will save, get this, $35,000 in interest. Worth it? What about this next example here? Jenny goes out and buys a $400,000 home on a 15-year note at 5% interest. Her monthly payment would be $3,163. If we divide that in half, the new payment becomes $1,581. If she pays it bi-weekly, the results for her is she saves 2 years on her mortgage, but get this, she saves $21,000 in interest. Both cases, as you can see, years were saved and thousands of dollars in interest was saved from going to the bank and staying in Jenny or Mike and Rhonda's pocket. Now, as you can see, bi-weekly mortgage payments, they're amazing. You pay off the mortgage quicker, you save years and years and years, and you also save thousands and thousands of dollars in interest. However, there's some mistakes that I see people make that I want you to completely avoid. So number one is if your bank or lender charges you a fee, don't go through the bank or lender, do this on your own. Again, no fees or no penalties. We shouldn't be paying any fees or penalties for setting this up. The second mistake I see is people make a prepayment of principal and interest. You don't want to do that. What that does is that just shortens your loan, but it doesn't save you on interest. What you want to be doing is making a principal-only payment. So anything extra that you throw out the mortgage, it goes to principal only because your interest amount is based on the current principal. So you want to make sure you're always throwing your extra payment towards principal, nothing else. The third mistake I see people make is they make themselves cash poor. They get really excited about paying down their mortgage early. And you got to remember, it's a one-way street. Once you pay that extra towards the principal, it's very, very difficult to get that money back. So you want to make sure that you're living on a written plan, AKA a monthly budget. And I can show you how to set up a monthly budget that's so simple that you can get started with right away. So you don't want to make yourself cash poor. All right, so you might be thinking now, okay, this is pretty cool stuff. I can set up a bi-weekly schedule. I could do it myself. I'm gonna save thousands of dollars in interest. I'm gonna knock years off my loan. Yes, those are all things that are gonna happen. You might be thinking, oh my gosh, what else can I do? How could I make this go even faster? Well, there's a couple things you can do. We just talked about here by just making a 1/12 payment to yourself into a sinking fund can have drastic changes in years off your mortgage and thousands of dollars in interest. So let me ask you this. What if you could save $100 every single month and throw that at principal? What if you could work an extra job or sell something and make a little bit extra money every single month? The key is consistency. If you could do that, yes, you're going to pay your mortgage off faster. Now, the majority of you are going to be really excited about getting started paying your mortgage off early, but I know there's some of you watching right now that are thinking, what is this guy talking about? Why is he telling people to pay off your mortgage early? Interest rates are so low right now. You should be paying extra toward your mortgage. You should be taking everything you can and invest it. Well, mathematically, you're correct. Let's think about it. If interest rates are, say, 4% right now, and I'm paying off my mortgage, I'm saving 4%. I could be taking that money and investing it and maybe getting 10, 12, 15%. So mathematically, doesn't it make sense that I would rather put my money in something that's going to earn me 10 to 12 to 15% versus save me 4%? Mathematically, you are 100% correct, and I have no argument there. But here's what I will tell you. I've met a lot of people with paid off mortgages, lots. And I have yet to meet one person that said, Chris, I wish I would have paid my mortgage off slower. In fact, I wish I still had a mortgage. I have yet to meet anyone that wishes they still had a mortgage, okay? So just going off that right there, I could tell you this. When you pay off your mortgage early, you get an extreme peace of mind. You get that sense of accomplishment, and a lot of financial stress goes away. And that's worth something to a lot of people. Me personally, that's worth something. I know I could go out there and invest and get more money in whatever investment vehicle I want, but I also know that when my head hits the pillow at night and I have a paid off mortgage, there's a lot of financial stress, a lot of worry, and a lot of peace enters my life. And guess what? Peace of mind isn't free. So for me personally, my opinion is you should still invest. You should not forego investing in order to put more at your mortgage. But if there is extra that you can do by setting up a bi-weekly mortgage payment or adding just $100 extra a month and it saves you years off your mortgage and thousands of dollars in interest, think about what that's going to feel like 5, 6, 7 years earlier that you have your mortgage paid off. When your head hits the pillow at night, you go to sleep with a paid off mortgage. And lastly, I hear this argument all the time, and I'm going to debunk it right now. Chris, you should never pay off your mortgage early because you're giving up the tax write-off. Now, here's what I will tell you. If you have a mortgage and you're paying mortgage interest, please take the deduction. Come on, that's common sense. But I don't think that you should go out there and keep a mortgage so you can get the deduction. There's kind of the two different schools of thoughts here. Here's the mathematics on it. Okay, it's very, very simple. Let's say you pay $10,000 a year in interest to the bank on your mortgage. If you're in the 22% tax bracket, that means it saves you $2,200 a year pay to Uncle Sam. So what you're doing here is you're saying, I'd rather send $10,000 to the bank to avoid paying $2,200 to Uncle Sam. I am on the school of thought that says, I'll pay $2,200 all day long to Uncle Sam so I don't have to pay $10,000 to the bank. Again, if you have a mortgage and you're paying interest, please take the deduction. If you don't worry about it. You don't need it. Alrighty guys, I hope this video was beneficial for you. If it was, the best thing you can do is like this video, subscribe to this channel so we can keep putting out content, share this with your friends, and let me know in the comments below what you think about it and what other things that you guys want to see when it comes to your money in your life. Take care.